Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures, Daily Dose of Nature. Today's topic, mammoth animals, presented by NatHab Expedition Leader, Arpita Dutta. I'm your host, Rob Mess. Thank you all so much for joining us here today. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you so much, Rob, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. And I always say that it's been always a pleasure to present about different animals, their lifestyles in front of you. And because of your presence, it makes a huge difference in the expedition leader's life as well, because we get to learn a lot of things just for you. And today, I think because it's in India, this first week of October, we are celebrating the Wildlife Week, the National Wildlife Week. So I was just going through and I was thinking that we are living with animals which are extraordinary, which are different. Then suddenly I felt like, why not talking about all the largest animals we are living in? Though when we talk about the mammoth animal, there is a picture in our mind that we create. The elephant with a huge tusk with this woolly, and especially after seeing Ice Age, I become a big fan of Manny, the big mammoth over there. But today we are going to talk about, which this mammoth lived almost last lived in 4,000 years ago on this earth, and we couldn't be with them. We couldn't live the life with them, but right now we have few animals who are huge, the largest or the biggest, and we are sharing this planet with them. So, so let's see what we can come across. Before we start, I would like to say that it is because there are so many creatures in different orders and phylum in different areas, like air, water, on Earth, that it's very difficult to distinguish that which one to pick. So as we really don't have much time, I thought that it's better to go with the phylum, that how they are placed. So to start with, I would come with the largest invertebrate on our planet is the colossal squid. You know that the name colossal it means huge, which is like we say that most of the time. Sometimes when I'm not checking my emails, I sometimes say that I have a colossal email to reply. So it's something great with the name, so we can understand that how big it can be. So the colossal squid, we have very little information. It's available on this largest vertebrate on Earth, because there are not many specimens or not many samples we have got, or people have come across this colossal squid many times, because they live really deep into the ocean. But we got to know about the squid. Initially, it was thought to be a giant squid. But later, with all the evolution of science as well, we got to know the technique to differentiate between the DNA. Then we got to know that that's a different squid, and which can be much larger than the size of the giant squid. So most of the time, the sighting happened because of this squid washed away on the shore. So according to that sighting, it has been found that they live in the Antarctic Ocean, in the freezing areas, but sometimes they do come to the southern western of New Zealand. And that's how we somehow got the idea of this beautiful squid and the cephalopods actually. So with that, the maximum total length has been estimated to 10 to 14 meters. My gosh, huge. The largest of this elusive giant, once it was measured, was 18 meter. Almost 59 feet, and the length and weight on nearly a ton. Can you imagine that huge squid? I mean, way bigger than the man. Look at this man over here. This is the giant squid. Giant squid is very long. It's sometimes longer than the colossal squid, but they are largest. And see the size. I mean, it's no wonder if the man come close to it, we can be a prey. I mean, uh, yeah, of course, we can end up into its stomach. So, and I have given the predator for the colossal squid or the giant squid is the sperm whale, and this is a giant squid picture though. But as there are no documentation is available, so I had to put this picture. But yes, so what happened that these those have been found whole, weighs nearly 500 kilos, but you know, inside the sperm whale, I mean, initially when we found colossal squid, it's like the arms and you know, beak inside the sperm whale stomach. So according to the size of the beak, I mean, once or twice it received by the researchers, it's estimated that that can weigh up to 700 kg. But yes, the whole body not has been found, but just by the beak size, they have been estimated, and makes them the heaviest as well. I mean, heaviest as well than the giant squid. And the giant squid can, just for an information, the giant squid can get almost 12-meter in size, and they live in the mesopelagic zone, which is like 1,000 meters down, and almost hardly any light reach out there, and it's almost the deep, you know, the hollow of the sea. I mean, it's scary though. I mean, when you think about all the creatures which are down below, and still we don't know actually how many are left to be discovered. Hardly we could reach at that, but this fellows and other creatures down there are very like exotic alien shape, alien looking species are there. And imagine this colossal squid hunts down those kind of creature for their food. And because they can't see, I mean, it's very dark, minimum light reaches there, they have the largest eyeball which is existing on the planet of any other like animal which is existing on this planet. It's almost 30 centimeter diameter. It's huge. It's almost like a soccer ball, or maybe a huge, I mean, a dinner plate folding in your hand. Just imagine that's the eye of the colossal squid. And that makes them the biggest animal with an eye on the planet. And that's a much needed feature, I believe, to find its prey in the dark. It has the binocular vision, actually. I mean, accurately to judge the distance, like where their prey are. And the movement, when they are moving towards the prey, I think the tentacles they have plays an important role, because they are not the tentacles how octopuses are there. The tentacles have this kind of hooks. How scary can you imagine? Like it is holding on to some prey, and all this sharp bended hook like structure is piercing on the body. There is no chance the prey can get away from the grip. And their body also shines, that the bioluminescence, you know, that's when there is a movement. So that's how they actually send signals. And scientists do also believe that it must be something to lure the prey towards them. You know, being so big, their metabolic rate is very, very low. They just need 45 calories. Imagine, I wish I could run like that. Whenever I see food, I feel like having, and that's how even I am becoming huge. And you know, in 45 calories, to gain that 45 calories, they just need 0.03 gram food per day. That's just so minimum to survive, to make this huge animal survive. And they prey on almost and of course they and this kind of animals is becoming a prey for the sperm whale, imagine. And it has been estimated that the sperm whale diet contains almost 75 to 77% of the colossal squid. So that means we can even imagine to that the population is still thriving well, maybe down there. And one specimen is kept in the Te Papa Museum in New Zealand. So if you are interested to see this huge colossal squid, you might, whenever our NatHab trips are happening in New Zealand, you can save some time to just to have a look. But though it's not kept in a very good way, but still you can have a look at the largest invertebrate on land. But all this colossal squid thing has started in 1925, when the head and the arm was discovered in a sperm whale's stomach. I mean, from there we have started up with so many things, and I think researchers are like going haywire to get the whole, live specimen that has been actually found in 2004 and 2007. The 2007 one, they got the live, but they couldn't say, like, it's almost in a very injured and bad shape. So that was the thing. But, and the first, the whole animal was captured by a trawler near the Antarctica coast. So in 1981, I mean, the whole animal. So in the Antarctica, there must be, because they live in this freezing water, they must be there a lot, and sometimes when they're surfacing, you might get to see them. So I'm just giving a little info on the thing that where you can, I mean, you never know, right? In wildlife, everything is wildlife sighting, everything is unpredictable. So maybe in Antarctica, while you go in the expedition with NatHab, you never know, maybe your ship or maybe a colossal squid suddenly feel like surfacing and you get to see them alive. If something is happening to me that in that way, oh my gosh, I'll just, I don't know, what will I do? But yes, with this giant invertebrate, let's come down to vertebrate way. So when we come to vertebrates, the first thing which comes is the fish. And we have this largest fish in the world. Of course, by the picture, by now, all of you got to know that I'm talking about a whale shark. And when it's like fish, being a fish, it's enormous. Like most of the time they're solitary, but even the name shark is tagged behind it, though most of the sharks are not threatful towards, threat to a human, but they are very calm. These whale sharks are. And they are found in the marine environment of the warm water, like worldwide, mainly in the tropical oceans. You can see over here the marking. It's here on the tropic side. It's almost like everywhere roaming, ruling the oceans. And it can grow up to 18.8 meter. Even the newborn almost measures 21 to 25 inches, and they can grow up to 30 tons. Can you imagine 30-ton fish? Wow. I mean, that's really incredible. And over here, sorry, let me tell you over here one thing, that it's found in the Eastern Atlantic Ocean and inhabits in the Indian Ocean. So when it comes to Indian Ocean, never know. I mean, when I'm traveling or somewhere, I might get to, because we have a record of whale shark coming in the like washed away on the shore in the Indian coastline as well. So that keeps me keep my hope alive that someday maybe I'll get to see it. So yeah, here the most important, like very fascinating thing I could find in this giant creature is their feeding habit. I mean, whale shark is one of the three large filter feeding shark. The two are the megamouth shark and the basking shark. These three do this filter feeding. So its large mouth is well adapted to filter near the surface of the ocean, and it contains more than 300 rows of small pointed teeth in each jaw. Can you imagine 300 rows? And I just believe that in those 300 rows, how many teeth it can have. I mean, sharp teeth it can have. But according, I mean, even if there are too many rows and too many teeth, but according to the ichthyologist, consider it that it's a vestigial structure, because the way they feed is very different. Like they swim with its mouth open, and the water enters the mouth cavity and filters through the 5 very large gill slit. And you know what? This gill slit also have a mesh-like spatial spongy tissues present inside those slits, and that forms a unique filter which is used in their feeding. And you know what? They can filter about 6,000 liter of water in an hour. My God, I don't even know that. How could they even find out? But anyway, the data says it. But 6,000 liters in in an hour, it's just amazing. I don't know how much liter my filter works. So anyway, they feed on the zooplanktons and phytoplanktons. So imagine that huge animal living in such small things. But yeah, with that, I would say that when it comes to sorry, to bring the offsprings, this shark has this oviparous reproduction. That means they incubate the egg inside the female's body. Once they fertilizes, once they come out of the egg, they release the young, and the female can give birth to almost 300 live young. Imagine. And this will grow, and they have a long childhood, almost 25 to 35 years of age. They gain their maturity. So imagine all these years you just have a free life, and I don't know how do they actually maintain their childhood or just live a childhood lifestyle. And once they are out, there is no parental care. They are by their own. So of course, most out of this 300, if most of them cannot survive till their maturity. And with that, before saying that, actually, because they are so calm and quiet and slow moving animal, they are no threat to humans. Most of the time they have shown no aggression, and sometimes, like curious kid, they will come close to the divers to examine that exactly what happens down there. But there are few accidents recorded by divers got injured by the fluke of the whale shark. And they also get threatened because there are commercial fishing things keeps on happening in the tropical areas, and they can get in bycatch. It's mostly when they get a bycatch, they are consumed mostly in Southeast Asia. And there are few areas where swimming with whale shark is there, but mostly Belize and Australia are doing it nicely, because they are putting a lot of effort on protecting the species so that they don't get disturbed, and the enforcement is pretty strong out there. And if you would like to do that with the whale shark, you can actually go with the NatHub trip with a swimming with the Mexico's whale shark. I'm just keeping all these slides to keep it in my memory that where I can go with NatHub to do all these things. And thankfully, I slowly, if any day, I'll start leading few more areas. That would be really fun for me to do that. And yes, with the whale shark, it comes down to our next one is the after the fish is the amphibian, the giant amphibian. And when it comes to amphibian, of course, amphibians and reptiles, I definitely have a soft corner for them. So yes, that makes me more enthusiastic to know more about them and to see them, of course. So the whole amphibian group itself is an extraordinary. I think it's due to their versatile way of living and the various way of a life cycle. I mean, if I take the whole group of amphibians, starting from frog, toads,
Hi, Arpita. We can hear you now.
you can hear me now. Can you, Rob, tell me that once I started with the giant salamander, could you hear that?
No, I think that's about where we lost you. Yeah, I think you'll have to start that again.
Oh, okay, fine. From here, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's my network issue has interrupted. Yeah, so coming with the giant amphibian is the salamander and the Chinese giant salamander. But before that, the amphibians has a huge range of their lifestyle, their way of living, their metamorphosis. Every from starting from frog, Sicilian, newt, salamanders, they all have a different way of living. I think that makes them the more efficient to live for this long. I mean, these Chinese giant salamanders are like the living fossils. They have seen the dinosaurs like come and go, imagine. And yeah, they can grow up to 1.8 meter. I mean, even taller than me. But most of the time, you will get to see it's from within 4 to 5 feet. And they also have a human life. They can live up to 70 to 80 years in the wild. So imagine in captivity, they can live more maybe. So they are found in the Rocky Mountain water bodies like lakes, streams in China. And it's a flagship species for China's freshwater ecosystem. And of course, being such a big one, it's in the top predator niche, slurping almost everything, including its own kind. I mean, they do cannibalize when they get a smaller salamanders. They are well, you can see over here, though this is an aquarium picture, but they are mostly in the grayish brown or the greenish brown color. So they are well camouflaged against the rocky river bottoms. So, and if you if you see this folded skin out here, it's an extension which helps for them to breathe through or to get more oxygen taken by those areas. And you know what, their skin produces a lot of protein, like several proteins are there on their skin, mucus, even in their molting, which actually absorbs helps to absorb more oxygen when they are down there in the water. And it's surprisingly that when we talk about a salamander, we know that a few of them have gills, but even if they're living down there, they don't have gills when they are grown up. So yeah, one is they breathe, or rather they take oxygen through their skin, and they do have lungs. They are lungs breather as well. But when this giant, like giant Chinese salamanders are young, like the hatchling, before they reach into their maturity, they have these gills. See here. And once they start growing, the lungs start developing, and then they lose those gills and the gill slit as well. And through their body there is a sensory line. There is a sensory line which moves on from their head to tail, which helps them to detect their prey. They are mostly active during the evening and the night. Morning they come out only when it's a breeding time. Talking about the breeding time, they are very fascinating. I mean, the male of giant Chinese salamanders are called the den master, because they would select the den. They will go, they will push the sand, they will make a small bench and clean it up everything, and even clean itself to attract the female and to show the way it has built the area for the female. And after during that courtship time, they do a lot of things like knocking bellies, side by side behaviors, like moving around, cohabiting, the riding. Of course we can see it, though this is not a giant salamander, but of course the thing happened like that. And of course chasing, rolling. Even it says that salamanders dance so well during their courtship. Definitely that makes them very special. And after that, the female lay eggs, almost like 400 to 500 eggs in a string, like the pearl beds, how it looks like, in the underwater burrow. And the male females stay out there. But it's the sole responsibility of the male to keep an eye on those eggs until they are hatched. Even he feeds on those unfertilized eggs to, to reduce the chance of contamination. And yes, they reach in the maturity at the age of 5 to 6 years almost, and then this will grow like them. And then the giant salamander would definitely thrive in those areas. But unfortunately, they are going through a huge like decline because of catching them for consumption of their meat. There in China, there are a lot of salamander farming, but still killing from the wild is not stopping. And yeah, it's as a delicacy, or it is also in the Walmart market, it has been sold. So yes, but gradually people are trying to understand there are protection laws. Even for the Japanese giant salamanders, they have like laws, and hopefully someday we will get to see they are thriving like naturally out there, like without any threat. Yes. So with that, this four-legged animal, we would come to another four-legged animal, is the largest reptile which is living on this planet now, is the saltwater crocodile. Wow. I just love it. The saltwater croc actually has a very distinct, like huge distribution from the northern Australia to the whole eastern side. Over here, you see all the eastern side of India. So yes, we do have saltwater crocodiles here. And then we have the other areas of Southeast Asia. And here it's mostly the habitat. I mean, I'm talking about India's part. This is from the Sundarbans area, and in other areas like Bhitarkanika, which is in Orissa, mostly on the eastern side, their habitat looks more like this with the mangrove plantation. And this could be the enormous size of the crocodile. This is in Australia, the swim with the croc. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel to see this huge monster in front of you, and how does it make you like feel? I just, because I know how saltwater react, because they are the most aggressive crocodile on this planet. And imagine the male grow up to 23 feet, and the female maximum, mostly 10 feet, but maximum it can grow up to 12 feet. And while saying this, let me tell you one thing, that while I was working in the saltwater breeding center in India, in Sundarbans, a female was bigger than the male, which was released with the female to breed. But I mean, unfortunately, the female actually pulled out the genital of the male from the body. Can you imagine? I mean, they are so aggressive that they can be dominated by the size and their age. But it's so great. Their aggression is just we can't even imagine, I guess. Yeah, and with this aggression, they have the strongest bite force than any other animal in the world. They slam their jaw shut with almost 3,700 pounds square, like per square inch. That's like huge. And with this, you see those teeth. Though this picture is from that breeding area, for which you can see a lot of, because they stay in the stagnant water. But look at the teeth out here. No matter even having like 60, almost 66 to 70 teeth uh, on their jaws, on the both of the jaw, and they have almost 50 rows of teeth. Like we lose one on one of our milk teeth, and we regrow one once in a lifetime. But for them, it keeps on growing. Though the process becomes slower when they are growing older, but there are several teeth lying down below the jaw. And the crocodile thing doesn't end up here. They possess so much more. If you see this area, this is the dorsal side. That means the upper part of it. And you see the mounds out here. These are called scutes. And every scutes are also called the osteoderms, because there is a deposition of the calcium out here, and they become like a bony structure. That's why the osteoderm, like bone-like skin, right? And they also have these nerve endings on the ventral side, on the lower side. These nerve endings, you see all dots in every scales or every scutes. They actually can understand the pressure, temperature, the buoyancy, everything, the thrust, everything when they are when they're lying on the land or they are in the water. So that's an extensive power they have to understand that whatever is happening around them. They also have the third eyelid called the nictitating membrane. So when they can see even underwater without closing their lids, because they would cover their eyeball with this membrane. And before I go to this one, I'll say the palate it has. If you have seen a crocodile basking, you would never get to see the mouth or the throat inside. So there is a loose skin which close down the throat here. So that helps the croc when they are hunting in the water or taking a prey down the water, they close that palate, and that helps them and that actually protects the animal. I mean, protects so that water doesn't rush into their throat. And here is the ballistic movement or the ballistic motion they have. They can be like a submarine. I mean, even that's why it's when it is actually moving towards the prey, hardly a prey can get to know, because they are so quiet. They don't move, they don't do any ripple on the surface of the water. So that makes them a perfect hunter. But with the perfect hunter, I'd say that even having all these teeth, they are mostly for grabbing it, because they actually tear the flesh from the body by the death roll. It's hold with the grip. It holds it and they start rolling. So that's the force when the flesh is teared up from the prey. And of course, when they can't chew, so they swallow the whole chunk of food. And for that, croc have a special valve in their heart muscle, which is linked to an aorta leading directly to the stomach, which miss the lungs part. So aorta carries the deoxygenated blood, right? So that aorta actually goes directly to the stomach capillaries, which actually helps to, I mean, itself, the deoxygenated blood itself is rich in carbon dioxide and a crucial component in releasing more acid into the stomach. So that's how they have two aortas, one for the regulation of the body and one to increase the releasing of acid in their stomach. And you know what? For a crocodile, they actually, I mean, for a salty, definitely, they actually digest everything from hair to hooves, bone, horns, nothing is left. Everything is like so over with their digestive juices and acidic stomach. With this, the crocodile, saltwater crocodile is the only animal, I mean, the only crocodile which actually build nest by gathering vegetation. You know, they don't dig soil to lay their egg. They would, by their tail, they would arrange a lot of vegetation. This is the nest where my cursor is. This is the nest of the crocodile. She is the female is protecting, like keeping an eye on it. And this is how the egg clutch are laid over there. And of course, when they come out, the hatchlings, they would be near about near about a feet size, and they get to know, the mother get to know by the call of the about to be hatchling croc, like ah, ah, ah. This is how they start making call. Then she would rush in, she will remove all those vegetation and then bring those hatchling out in the water. How incredible that is. Okay, so of course, after almost 75 to 90 days, there are babies all over near that area where their parents are living in. But yeah, of course, there are not much parental care. They live by their own. But of course, the population is thriving well. So here to see this croc, you can actually get to see it in this Australia North. The trip happens, and if any day if you are coming down to India, even in India there are many places where you can get to see this saltwater crocodile. But yes, Australia at once gives you so much abundance of so many like different animal. I mean, Australia, when it comes to Australia, I always say we can declare that land a different world altogether. All these extraordinary species of animals do live there. Anyway, so next, because it's the largest reptile, but when we talk about the reptile, of course, the snakes do come in. So I'll just mention about this too, is the longest reptile is actually the reticulated python. In 1912, a reticulated python have been caught, which measure around 10 meter. And they are found mostly in Southeast Asia and of course a few parts in India as well. So this is the longest snake. And when it comes to the biggest by the weight of the reptile, then it comes to the green anaconda, which is of course found in this beautiful, I think in Pentanal, if you go, then you might get to see the anaconda out there. And the green anacondas can grow more than 8.8 meter and can sometimes weigh like 550 pounds to almost near about, and can be near about 250 kilograms. So yeah, and then it comes to the bird. Of course, when we talk about the largest bird, we can definitely think of all the ratatites family, and in that family, ostrich wins the medal. So it lives in the African savanna, grows up to 6 to 9 feet tall and weighs around 150 kilos. And of course, it shared the habitat with other herbivores out there. Generally, they don't drink much water, but when they come close to the other, they do share all these areas. And of course, they are solitary, but sometimes they have been seen in flocks. They stand together mostly during the mating time. It has been seen that they are coming together in the same land. But what makes them so special, I think, is the strong leg it has. Imagine an ostrich can run like that is the fastest bird on land, which is around 43 miles per hour, and a sprint of 70 miles per hour. That's amazing. And this strong leg end up to this toe, like they have only two toe, and their leg and the thigh muscle have a lot of like elastic tendons. I mean, overall, if we see, that is actually the perfect build for running, for standing on the ground so hard. And with this, of course, the ostriches are the flightless bird, and they don't have this keel bone which is present in the like other birds, and which helps the flight muscle to they bind the flight muscle actually. So they don't have that. That's why they cannot fly, but they can run so fast. And not only they are the fastest bird on the land, but they have the largest eyeball than any land animal. So in the overall, it's the colossal squid, but on the land is the ostrich. And can you imagine their brain size is even smaller than one of their eye? Yeah, maybe that's the reason why when there is a danger, it actually stuck down their head into the stand. A little dumbness is, I believe it's there. But anyway, but they are amazing to look at, and they do a communal nesting. So the main lady will lay the egg in the middle, and the rest will come together. That actually in the savanna land, that gives more protection. Getting in the same area, because it has been always overlooked. During the day the female does that, and at night the male takes a turn. And with this, after I mean almost 60 eggs can be there in this communal nest. And of course, after 42 days, the hatchling comes out. They are also very cute with those same strong leg, and almost live by their own. They walk with their parents, but almost feeding and stuff they learn by themselves. How amazing it looks. Imagine this is the leg, and this is how this little one looks like. But yeah, with the bird, I'll end up with the mammal. Of course, I mean, if I go to the vertebrate wise, the mammals comes the last. And of course, in the way of when it comes to mammal, I think in the evolutionary thing, we come the last, I mean, at the end. But with this, of course, the largest mammal we know that in the entire planet is the blue whale. I mean, this magnificent giant marine mammal. It looks stunning. I guess, I mean, many of you have seen it maybe, or maybe you are willing to see as well, just like I do. And distributed all over the major ocean except the Antarctic. They do go to Antarctic just for the feeding, like the migration, when the migration happens, but it's mostly stay in the other major like oceans. Yeah, and they and before I could go to its specification, just to let you know, this is the interesting part, is they're closely related to the hippos. I mean, imagine a hippo and a dolphin. I mean, they are like their DNA test happened. I mean, DNA sequencing happened, and it has been found that they are close to the ungulate, and it is more than the, I mean, more to a hippo than any other marine animal. So that thing has started almost, 50 million years back, and it's called the Pachycetus. So from there, they have been divided into the groups. And from here, see, from Pachycetus, there are two variations, and from where this whale are coming, and from here the hippos are coming. So yeah, this has been amazing to know. And of course, for whale, there is some specific thing, not with only the largest mammal, but they actually have a lot of bigger things. So for a blue whale, they are the loudest animal on the earth, who are even louder than a jet engine. Imagine, the blue whale call can reach up to 188 decibels, and whereas the jet engine reaches up to 140. I mean, and the frequency, the low frequency whistle, which they do to communicate or to make the other whale listen, and that actually can be heard from hundred of miles away. That's outstanding. And so not only the loudest voice, but they, in the anatomy, they have the largest stomach. Of course, they can actually contain, I mean, 1,000 tons in their stomach. I mean, 1,000 tons of food in their stomach, and they almost feed on your like 4 tons. Sorry, 1 ton. Sorry, I'm so sorry. 1 ton of food in their stomach, and they actually feed on 4 tons of krills in some time of the year. So imagine the capability they have, even the same as the whale shark. They are huge, but they feed on such small things. And with their heart, what they have is the, I think, the heaviest and the largest as well. The size would be more close to a Volkswagen Beetle, the car, and almost 630 times heavier than a human heart. Of course, it has to be, I guess, and that makes them the heaviest, like heart with the like heaviest on the planet. And you know what? It's not only by the size, but it helps the well to dive in as well, to acclimatize with the depth of the water they are swimming. So when they surface, heart pumps almost 25 to 37 times per minute. But during dive, when they have to go down, they slows down to 4 to 8 per minute. So it helps. It actually, it has also the big aorta, almost dinner 9 inches diameter aorta, that also squeezes to, to keep on circulating the oxygen throughout the body, even when they are down deep down there in the ocean. And with this, they also do a long migration. They tend to migrate from long distance each year. Like as I was saying, in the Arctic areas, for the cold area, they prefer for the feeding ground, and the warm area, they prefer for the breeding ground. And the migration, it's still, people are trying to learn the migration route and how do they migrate, but they are definitely diverse. And of course, they do like after mating, almost after a year, they produce the calf, which is also near about 23 feet. Imagine, even the calf is even larger than many of the animals, and they can reproduce in every 2 to 3 years. And that's how they actually end up being into this huge ocean and keep on ruling our whole planet, being the largest mammal on Earth. And of course, to see the whale, we have few places definitely, but in Sri Lanka, what I have been heard from my friend expedition leaders, that in Sri Lanka it's amazing. Like they actually come out and they come out and splash in front of the boat and they almost get wet. All these stories I have heard from them, I'll definitely feel like visiting them there. So you can actually get to see them close in Sri Lanka wildlife and cultural treasures. And also it can be seen in the whales and nature trails of Quebec. There also you can actually get to see these blue whale. So I don't know that when and how, but I would definitely like to see this largest. I have only seen the reticulated python, the saltwater crocodile till date, and that's it. That's how the largest in my list I could see. But I hope to see a few more, and I hope you also get to see more. And if you know, let us know how, especially me. I would love to listen to your stories. Thank you so much. Rob, I'm ready to take up questions.
Thank you, Arpita. Now, before we start with the question and answer session, I would like to remind everyone that you can submit your questions via the question field in your control panel. So can you tell us how many babies does a whale shark have at once?
So they have near about 300 babies. 300.
At the same time or over their lifespan?
No, at the same time. That is the highest record they have got, 300 babies. Yeah, that's huge.
And what is the lifespan of the whale shark?
It's almost says that's 90 to 100 years.
Wow, longer than us.
Yes.
So are eels related to salamanders?
Newts are not exactly related to salamanders. So newts are more have the rough skin with with the dorsal side would be they are more terrestrial. On a simpler way, they are more terrestrial, but salamanders are more close to water bodies. But newts are much smaller than salamanders.
Is the African elephant the largest land animal?
African elephant is the largest land animal, yes. And you know what, Rob? I mean, the size of the whale or how much they weigh, it's almost near about 33 African elephants weigh is equal to one whale weight.
Gotcha. So are there blue whales in Antarctica?
Blue whales in Antarctica, I think they are not in the freezing areas. But yes, towards the southern ocean they have, but exactly if you see the whales in Antarctica, I just need to check.
Gotcha. Well, it looks like that's going to be the last question that we do have for today. So I'm going to throw it back to you, Arpita, for any closing comments that you may have for us today.
Thank you so much for joining in and listening. And I'm waiting for your stories. If you have ever come across to any of the largest or the biggest animal, share the stories with us and create new more. And thank you so much. Have a great day ahead and the week ahead. And thank you so much, Rob, for hosting. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Arpita, for taking the time to present for us today. And I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in today. If you're interested in information on how you can travel with NatHab, give us a call at the number on your screen or send us an email at info@nathab.com. Our adventure specialists are happy to help you out. Join us tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I will conclude the webinar. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you next time.